Hi, I'm Mikey Dredd. Welcome to episode 11 of Bowling Science, brought to you by Bowlify. Today, we're going to talk about sanding your bowling ball, and my preferred method to do so. So I'm going to warm up with my ball with a little bit of lane shine on it, and we're going to freshen it up. I'm going to use a gray Scotch-Brite pad. This pad is equivalent to about 1,000 grit if you use it at full pressure. I'm going to apply medium pressure, because with Scotch-Brite pads, the harder you push, the deeper the scratches and the rougher surface you're going to achieve. Gray pads are perfect for freshening up the surface of smooth bowling balls, or balls that you keep anywhere between 1,000 to 4,000 grit on a spinner with typical sanding pads. And because this is bowling science, here's our obligatory slow motion shot. Now let's hit the lanes and see what freshening up the surface did for our ball reaction. I had to move maybe 2 boards left, and it definitely increased the responsiveness off the friction spot down lane. Here it is in slow motion. You can see it crosses the arrows at about 19. But I'll still be able to play the same breakpoint that I did when it was dirty out of my bag. This surface preparation is exactly how I like to keep this ball in my bag, so it's most versatile and useful. I've got more Scotch-Brite pads with me, and we're now going to use this as a benchmark to see what happens to our ball reaction as we lower the grit or increase the roughness of our surface. Here's what that reaction looks like overlaid with our warm-up shots. A lot more responsiveness. Now we're starting to get to some surface. This is a green Scotch-Brite pad. A fresh green Scotch-Brite pad can get surfaces up to about 500 grit when used at full pressure. I again am going to apply medium pressure, and I'm going to get a rougher surface than I did with the gray pad. As we get rougher, you'll see that this process creates more dust. If you're not creating dust, you're not pressing hard enough. So now let's talk a little bit about what this is going to do on the lane. More surface means the ball is going to read friction sooner and start to get into its hook phase earlier on the lane. The ball's also going to slow down faster with this surface applied to it. Yes, if I stood in the same place, it would hook early and go across the head pin and hook left, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to move my feet 5 boards further left, crossing the arrows close to the 4th arrow. I'm able to get the ball out to similar break points as I was playing before, and maintain a nice shape on the back end of the lane. On this typical house shot shape, there's more oil inside, so that helps get this rougher surface further down the lane to create the ball motion that we're looking for with more increased hook. With my tilt and rotation, I always like using surface and being able to get left when the pattern allows it. Let's see this reaction in comparison to the gray pad that we're going to use as our baseline. The difference with my feet was at least 2 to 3 boards, and I had to play 2 boards further inside at the arrows. You'll see I was still able to get the ball out to the 4 board at the break point and maintain that signature shape on the back end. This is how you use surface on a house shot. Now for the Mac Daddy pad. This is the burgundy pad. Some people call it a brown pad. This 3M industrial Scotch-Brite pad can achieve grits beyond 360 and is the roughest that I use in my arsenal. When sanding with a burgundy pad, you're really going to create dust. Make sure you wipe down these balls with a towel before throwing them. With dust comes a great slow-mo. Check that out. Wow, that's radical. All jokes aside, what's this going to do on the lane? A lot of people would say that this type of surface is completely unusable, probably unnecessary for a dry house shot like I'm bowling on. But that doesn't mean that with an effective game, you can't use it effectively and actually score on these patterns. Time to walk around the ball return. This surface forced me to walk 4 to 5 boards around the ball return and set the ball down on the farthest corner of the lane that I could. I crossed the arrows at about 22, but am still able to play a break point pretty close to 5. The rough surface of the ball, combined with the volume of oil on the inside part of the lane that I'm playing, allows me to again create an effective, powerful ball motion. As we continue to apply surface, the ball is slowing down faster in the front and the mid part of the lane, but because of the oil, we still have what we're looking for. Now let's see that overlay. As you can see, I'm much deeper using the burgundy or brown pad compared to the green pad surface. But there it is at the breakpoint, reading strong and rolling through with the intended shape of the layout that's on this ball. Now once you've roughed your ball up with the Scotch-Brite, you can actually use another pad to smooth it out and achieve a skip grit-like reaction. This is the burgundy or brown pad followed by a gray pad. Those are far enough apart in grit that it creates a similar reaction to a 360-1000 skip grit. It allows me to stay a little further left, not quite as far left walking around the ball return as I had to with just the brown pad, but it gives me a little bit more added length and makes this shape a little less smooth and a little more dynamic. These Scotch-Brite pads are the best way to maintain your surface by hand. Yes, I still do go to a ball spinner and use the assorted pads, whether they're Aberlon, Sia Air, CTD, but I don't own a ball spinner. So this is the best way for me to do it on the go inexpensively and to maintain the quality of my arsenal like a tournament bowler. Here's my smoother skip grit. This is a gray pad followed by a thick industrial white pad. With the white pad, you gotta go a little faster and put some elbow grease into it, but you're able to smooth out and get a little shine that looks like a 1000, 4000 skip grit surface. Here's an overlay to show the range of hook I was able to create with the two skip grit surfaces. As you'll see, they're both rough because the smoother grit doesn't fully cut all the deep scratches out. What it does though is smooth them out so that the ball can get further down the lane before the friction takes over. I brought my ball to the local pro shop and had them sand it 2000 on the spinner and polish it. So now we've got a shiny conspiracy theory. Let's see what this is going to do on the lanes polished. I moved about 10 boards right from the gray pad to see what we had. Oops. Let's move a little further right and try that again. This polished surface is obviously the least hooking, but it gets the ball furthest down the lane. This is nice if you're forced to play in the drier part of the lane where this ball excels. On this house pattern, it's where I'm at further right outside of the 5 board at the breakpoint. Now, to settle my side of the debate on whether or not surface makes a ball hook more, here's an overlay of 3 shots. The furthest right is polished, the one in the middle, gray pad. The furthest left is the burgundy or brown pad. As you'll see, the furthest left most sanded ball hooks the most and slows down the fastest. You'll see the shiniest ball gets down the lane the furthest, but all of the balls are able to create shape down lane and carry through the pins. At least on house shots, surface means hook. We'll be back next week to test these surface adjustments on a flatter pattern front to back and see if we get similar results. I want to thank Pinboys at the Beach for allowing us to film here, and I also want to remind you to check my link in the description to get one of these awesome Bowling Science jerseys from Bowlify. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Go out there and throw yourself some strikes with a sanded ball.